I'll try to put a little rock and roll into this, because everybody was so smart before me that I don't have much to say. Only that my relation with hemp is maybe not 8,000 years old, but it's about 25 years, and mainly that interest intensified, especially in the last two years when I went for a visit to the Polish Natural Fiber Institute, and realizing that there is a quite aggressive, I would say, attitude of government in Canada and United States towards the hemp production, I made a political decision that I will get involved in production of hemp in Poland. The reason for that was that I thought that there's other groups, political groups in Canada that try to work, trying to obtain the license for production in Canada. I thought that there was a need that we get our experience growing hemp while waiting for the licenses. With the Institute, I thought that it would be interesting to set up a partnership where in the initial stages we would learn about production of hemp, using their technology, breeding, researching the new methods of processing, while eventually I thought that the hemp would be legalized for fiber production as an industrial plant in Canada, and then in that partnership could transfer technology. I thought that the Polish Institute should benefit from the 60 years of experience, and I was not interested to going there, learning the technology, ripping them off, coming to Canada was legal, and keeping the money for us. So I'm trying to set up a partnership that, while we're working right now, already importing seeds from Polish production into the Canadian company for oil, I thought that this move will help us politically in a way to get a commercial processor of seeds in Canada behind application for the commercial permit. Because I think that the problem with obtaining Canadian permits is that until now there was not really an end user for the product. Right now we can prove to the, I guess it's a health department, for permits that we do have an end user. The end user, the company, is ready to give us support. We will try to apply for the commercial permit with taking Polish Institute as a partner in helping us to grow the hemp, the variety, the technology of harvesting and processing using their experience. And I think in that way both sides will benefit. I find in Poland incredible wealth of information, especially in processing of for particle board. Poland is the biggest world producers right now, produces around 140,000 cubic meters of particle board based on hemp. I think that we can get into this type of partnership not only with Poland but other countries that that produce hemp and have that history of breeding, because it's nice to say that we're all exciting about hemp, but when I see people around here, we're basically talking to convert it already. We all converted that the hemp is a valuable crop. Another thing that interests me in hemp is I come to this from organic farming background, and I find that in Poland and Ukraine the organic approach to hemp growing is not as developed as the organic farming concepts are in North America. And I think that that's something that we could bring to Poland, because we're talking a lot about hemp being an environmental hemp, and we get a lot of mileage out of it. And I think that to really be, for hemp to be really ecologically sound crop, we have to look at this production in rotation with other crops, especially with crops, nitrogen fixers, because hemp uses nitrogen for this production. Again, another another area of interest that I have in working with Poland and any other institution is for looking at hemp as a strictly oil producing crop. Seed production was always, if not secondary, it was not of primary importance. I think that using Canadian, especially prairie, brain of breeders who bred one of the best oil seeds, we could arrive with the very valuable hemp for oil. And as was mentioned before, I think the estimates are that if we get out of this total phobia of THC, we could actually obtain up to between 6 to 8 tons per hectares. And when you're talking about the field crop for the prairie farmers that could bring them even at $1,000 a ton, or even let's go down to 8, if we can bring $4,000 per hectare to any farming community, that would be, I'm sure, welcome. We just have that, we have to get away a bit out of this idea that the aim of all the research everywhere is reactive to the governmental policies, that we're only breeding it for 0 THC. I think there's other characteristics of hemp that we could put our energy to develop than actually get rid of the THC. That's just my personal opinion and does not represent the Polish Institute or any other affiliates. Definitely looking at hemp as a rotation in organic agriculture looks very interesting. Every organic farmer is looking for additional crop to diversify production on the farmers. Organic farming is based on diversification. We can, as we heard from the research scientists from both institutes, monoculture seems to be the practice of the researchers. You know, I would like to see hemp giving a chance to be grown on the organic farms, where organic farmers would put that into a rotation and develop not as much in rotation with corn and potatoes, but more in rotation with soya beans or forages. Yeah. If there's any questions, I don't want to take a long time, because we will have hopefully some forum when free discussion will flow, but now probably everybody is hungry, and few questions or any questions I would be happy to answer.
It occurs to me that it would be very interesting to farmers to use the hemp for a rotation crop, because in China they use this for rotation of potatoes and such. And if they could yield something as valuable as these oils, like you say, and clean up their soils instead of leaching them out into foods and then feeding them to people, where they've actually tried to clean these pesticides and herbicides out, that this would be a favorable solution.
Oh, definitely. I think any farm system, you know, whether it uses chemical inputs or does not uses chemical inputs, would welcome a cleaning plant in rotation. You know, I think every 5 years, if you grow, it just makes sense. Also, in China, there is organic groups that grow soya beans in China, and are very interesting in putting hemp into the rotation, because it's as everybody knows already, that it is a fast-growing plant, and we don't have to use herbicide in the industrial production. There might be, we just have to learn more about the seeding ratios and technology of cultivation.
And the local people do depend on it largely for a cash crop in these rotations, because they know they can make money on it. And
Yeah.
it's a very viable way of them surviving.
Well, also, you know, there's we can talk, and I'm sure that I just don't want to stretch it, but, you know, we can get into social economic benefits of hemp growing as a crop that can be actually processed in the regions, can rejuvenate rural communities by value added to the plant itself. It's not that hard to get the herds locally. I mean, to process the plant locally for fiber, Dan mentioned to me that there is a oil expeller that can be brought to the farm. So there's also possibility of value added. Economically, I think if hemp was given a equal chance with all the other plants, I would say that, I don't know if I bet my farm on it, but pretty close, you know? A condo, if I had one, yeah, for sure. So that's it. Okay.
Where would you see it to fit in a rotation, like a 4-year rotation or something like that?
Yeah, I think 4 years rotation would be fine. Going once you have a nitrogen fixing at one period, because I don't know exactly what rotation you're using here. I would use it with vegetables and my farm I would use it with vegetables and hay crops, legume hay crops. So I would use it 4 years. I go 2 years of different vegetables, then go into a clover, cut the clover 1 year, the second year plow done, and then hemp. And I think I would have enough nitrogen and to obtain good results. You know, of course, if you're growing it for seeds, I think maybe I would put the vegetables in between and grow green manure, like something that could bring more phosphorus for the seed production, like Japanese radish. Or, you know, we could use quite a bit of different rotations, but it's also, you know, because it has a very long tap root, it does wonder for the structure of the soil, and brings the air into the soil, also brings out different nutrients. You know, I'm sure that in agriculture we all know that there might be nutrients might be in the soil that just might not be available to the plant. Different plants through different root system make them available to the following crop. So I would like to see more research done, because we don't really, we just have more like a philosophical, emotional theories about it, but there is still not enough research done into organic hemp production. And it would be nice if we could find the institute or ourselves. I think if organic farmers were given a chance to grow it within a few years, we would come up with good methods, like we did with just general structure of organic farming. Well, it's mostly used in Poland. I think the export, you know, I think that Professor Kozłowski can answer this, but I just also think that we should really try not to force exports as a main reason for doing anything in our economy. So,
may I add something? We are quite big production of furniture. We exported furniture, and such board are used. But you know, we used all hemp hulls for production of a board. But I say is very important. We use a sawdust in mix, and sometimes it's 20%, sometimes it's 60% of the woody part of hemp. And we say it's a particle board, you know. It's different because what I observe in state in Canada is a different consumption of board. You mainly consume of board for the building industry, you know. And in Europe, especially in Poland, houses are made from brick, concrete, and it's the only mainly consumption of such light materials, and mainly in the furniture industry. But may I add something, coming back to China? You asked about China. You know, you have excellent goods from China, like apparel is made in fabric. But you know, the Romania in China, they obtain this fiber in the way which is impossible to do in Europe and in America. The hemp is retted in water. Per 1 ton of straw for retting and leaching, washing, it together is need about 40 cubic meters of water. Water have to be heated about 32 Celsius centigrade. And next grade per 1 ton of straw, 40 cubic meter of sewage. In Europe, this is normally impossible. It's impossible. It's the reason that we use a diuretic and use a new technology as a decortication, enzymatic treatment, as a extracted fiber, and some new method in development stage. But it's impossible. We have forget about the retting in water. And when you consider it, because retting on the field, on the water, is a better. But in retting on the field, like dew retting, we lost in Europe about 4 or 5 years a crop one, because it's raining, because it's too dry, and it's a problem. For this, it's a reason to look for the new method like enzymatic treatment, etc.
I guess that's it. We'll meet later.